How you going, guys? The last video I mentioned I was going to do a bit of a service on my little Kubota L1501DT. I've just done a couple of hours of slashing in the back paddock here, so she's nice and warm. Good time to change the oil because now the oil is very viscous and should all run out nicely. Get rid of all of the old stuff, ready for some new stuff. So got a 19mm spanner here. Just undo the sump plug. Oh, there she goes. Out with the old. Loosen off the filler cap up the top here just so that there's no kind of vacuum happening there to prevent the oil from all running out nicely. So I'm going to let that all run out. Once it's all run out, I'm actually going to obviously change the oil filter at the same time, and I'm also going to do the valve stem seals. So I'll get rid of all the oil, drain all that, and get ready for the next one. Okay guys, I'm on to the next little part of this project. I gave the engine a degrease yesterday just to clean off all of the gunge and oil. I've got a bit of an oil leak up the back behind this alternator here somewhere. I'm hoping it's just in the cover gasket rather than the head gasket. So I'm going to see if I can fix that up as well. Obviously, as I mentioned the other day, my intention is to replace the valve stem seals in the top of the head here, and I'm going to do a few other jobs on the way in to do that. So first thing I'm going to do is take off the exhaust. I've added this little extra piece on the top of here because when I bought the tractor, the top of the exhaust was around about here, so it tends to blow fumes straight back into your face. It doesn't blow an awful lot of smoke, fortunately, except on startup, which is why the valve stem seals need to be done. However, this little piece here now throws the fumes over the top and instead of into my face, so that's always a good thing. There's also some pinholes. I can see where they've tried to weld patch. In fact, this piece of pipe here I suspect is being welded in as a patch job, and I've got this rather bodgy looking clamp on here as well that I want to replace with a proper exhaust clamp. Just a few little maintenance things. I'm going to pull off the exhaust elbow and probably even the manifold, give them a bit of a clean up and put some new gaskets and bolts and things on there, give it a paint up, and I'm intending to paint that all in a satin black right up to here, and then I'll just have this little piece that I just went down to the local exhaust guys in Gatton and got that piece. So because this is a bit of a bodgy job, we've got some mixed bolts. This one's actually, or nuts even, this one's a 15, tight fit there, and this one's about a 12. So I'm just going to try and get this off without, hopefully not too much of a problem. So it seems to be coming off not too badly at the moment. You can see it's been tightened up to the point where it's actually damaged the bolt. It's been worn into the clamp. Get rid of this, and then we put on a nice new one which is neat and tidy. As I say, I bought this tractor not because I wanted a hobby as such, but I wanted a machine that could work for me, and I contemplated the idea of an old grey Fergie and those kinds of things, but the reality is a lot of those, while they might be nice little collector's items and can do some work, I wanted a more serious tractor that could actually do the work that I wanted like a challenge. I do like a challenge. Get that out. Pull that off. And I'm not going to do too much more on this today other than get these pieces off, work my way down. As I've got a bunch of other things going on and I need to just tackle this a little bit by little bit at the moment. But obviously once I pull the cover off the head, I'll want to try and get that done as quickly as possible. That's a very interesting little piece of equipment, that bolt. Alright, so these ones should just be 13mm. Pull that piece off there, that nice little extension piece, and we'll try and get this one off. There we go, one rather used mufflers. As I think I mentioned before, there's a few little pinholes in here from a previous welding job. I'm going to try and patch those up, or weld those up, and then file or grind that down a little bit, give it a good clean up. This looks like a whole lot of dodgy welding down the bottom there as well. Clean that all up, and then we'll put it back together after I've painted it. So it'll look a whole lot nicer and neater. The bolts on this exhaust elbow. Have some better days. Just using 3/8 breaker bar here. It's only a little tractor, 1/2 inch. Sometimes the problem with the 1/2 inch or bigger is you can actually apply too much pressure. Just trying to work this back off the thread. Again, I've bought new bolts for all of this. I should have got a little bit of inox put on there, that would have been smart. Right, yeah, she's starting to come. Definitely need a bit of inox, hang on. One of the best things you can have in your toolkit, a bit of inox. Okay, this one feels now like it's the stud that's actually coming out rather than the nut coming off the stud. In some respects that's probably a good thing. I'll see if I can buy a couple of new studs and replace the studs on here because they don't look the best. And indeed, what we have is the stud coming out rather than the nut just coming off the stud. So I'll give that a bit of a wire brush and paint up that elbow. And get that back out of the socket a bit later. Okay, these ones feeling much better. Again, I'm doing this as a preventative maintenance task. While I'm this far in and doing these things, it's much easier to replace and fix up things than when I need it in the middle of a production cycle. So as I mentioned the other day, I did some slashing before I started this process. The weather's turned a little bit colder here, so that's going to slow the grass down. So I've probably got about 2 or 3 weeks before I need to worry about it again. So hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks I can have this all back together. As I say, I've got new gaskets for this. I'll give that a brush up and a paint, clean it all up nicely, and when I'm ready to put the it all back together again, I'll go on nice and neat and tidy and clean. Alright guys, that's pretty much all I got time. Obviously I'm going to cover up those exhaust outlets there, make sure that no dirt and water and whatever can get in, and I'll pick it up next time.